Hey, Facebook fam, how are you? It is a joy and a privilege to be back after that vivacious vacation that I had the privilege of taking, and my family and I just kind of relaxed a little bit, did what I wanted to do. But it's good to be back. No place like home, and glad that you've given me the opportunity to even just be able to talk to you for a few minutes. We have been, as I told you before when I left, we were studying the book of 1 Corinthians, and we've come to chapter 11, where they had the mitigated gall to take that which is wholesome and holy and make something out of it horrific. I think that the church at Corinth really is no worse than churches that exist in this 21st century. Because what they did back then, we even do right now. And their whole issue about the communion table, the Lord's table, all of these names mean the same thing and speak to the same thing. That the Corinthian church had perverted it. You read chapter 11 and you start around verse 18 to verse 22, you find out that they literally perverted the Lord's table because of a meal that took place before the Lord's Supper, which was considered to be the love feast. And those that were a part of that love feast did not reflect what the love feast was supposed to be, and that was the church was coming together as one. There was no segregation, no separation, not because of race or sex or prejudice. None of those things were important during the love feast, but the Corinthian church took something quite wholesome and flipped it into something perverted, meaning that they began to separate themselves and segregate themselves from one another. How do you come together and be separated? The text says that Paul says that when you come together, there is division among you. It's contrary, totally contrary to the statement of coming together. But just as they did, you and I do. We come together, but we're not together. We have people in the church that we hang with. We have cliques that we be with. And we're together, but we're not together. And particularly around the Lord's table, there is supposed to be a oneness, because in the midst of the perversion, there's a purpose that Paul lays out clearly. And that's because that's the reason why they were perverted, because they lost purpose of what the Lord's table was all about. And I'll get back to it next week for you, but I just wanted to give you a tidbit of what we talked about, because I'm going to deal with the last portion of it, Lord willing, next Sunday. And I'll be able to come to you on Monday to share with you what it is that we dealt with on Sunday. So they perverted it, but then Paul gave purpose for it. And verses 23, starting there, and he begins to explain why communion is communion. And then we will come back and talk about how you need to prepare for it in the midst of your knowing the purpose of it. All right, family, gotta go. Glad to see you again. Glad that you listened in. Glad that you've given me the opportunity to drop something on you from the Word of God that I pray that will impact your life, challenge your life, and change your life. God bless you. Be best. I'm out. Peace.